Hello, friends and listeners. You have a brand new episode of Watch Skip Plus. We want to be your go-to source for insightful and pop culture movie reviews. If you have not seen the tag, this is the spoilered episode for Eli Roth's Ice Cream Man, AI aside. So we dropped the spoiler-free link. Actually, that ended up being kind of a cool episode because I think we talked a little bit about the type of filmmaker that Eli Roth is and what to expect. Check that out if you haven't seen the movie, but you still want to ruin it for you, or you are still thinking about whether you want to see this in the theater. Go ahead and keep listening because we're going to spoil the shiz as out of this. So one of the things I talked about in the spoiler-free episode was everybody coming out and criticizing Eli Roth and saying he's a terrible filmmaker. My feeling is there is nothing new in this that we have not seen Eli Roth do in Cabin Fever or Hostel or Green Inferno, right? So I'm thinking about that scene in Green Inferno where I remember my audience went a little crazy over this, where the guy is like, I'm very stressed out, and when I'm really stressed out, I masturbate. And so he's jerking off in the cage in Green Inferno. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about the stuff going on in this movie, and I'm just kind of like, this is what Eli Roth does, right? Like, he lets sequences go on way too long. That opening dinner sequence where they're having the haha laughing and talking about stuff. Why did we have to have that? That went on for like 8 minutes more than it should have. What am I watching? Why? But that is his style. Even in Cabin Fever, there's a lot of sequences that go on longer than they should that add nothing to the story, but Roth is doing this to shock us and push our buttons. What did you think about that? Did you feel that that he was being manipulative in this and pushing our buttons and having kids do all these crazy sort of things?
Yeah, I did. I felt it was manipulative. Of course, it's exploitative, right? This is an exploitation film, and that's what he's trying to do. I mean, his original films, like we talked about, those first 2 films or 3 films of his are all exploitation films. And this is going back to being an exploitation film, away from more bigger budgeted films. And it shows that's what he was going for. I don't think it's completely successful. Didn't work for me.
In the spoiler-free episode, you mentioned the scene of the girl walking around with her mom's head.
Yeah, I liked her.
And to be sure, that scene is crazy. So we'll start with the Iceman concept, and then I'll segue into that. What my question was. The Ice Cream Man, you've all seen it probably in the trailers, which I avoided, but apparently he makes the kids eat this ice cream. And then it's a little unclear if you need to watch the video and then hear the music to become homicidal, because the kids eat it and they don't turn homicidal and kill their parents until they've either watched this video, which pops up on their phone, and then they hear the song that he plays. So when the first kill happens, the girl shows up to her mom's bedroom and she has a hacksaw and she just starts hacking away at the woman's neck, right? And then the father wakes up and he's all shocked, and then in comes the brother with the bat and he's just bashing the guy's head in.
That's the first sequence of AI. When the bat hits the dad's face, it folds into itself. And looked so unreal and different and weird. I was
so
like,
you
what?
didn't think that was a prosthetic? I just figured it was a rubber head.
Again, I think that the AI was just used to accentuate those things, but something about the way that it folded in itself.
Yeah, it looked
odd. You get the
prosthetic.
prosthetic, it looked odd. And there's several sequences, like there's another sequence of all these kids on like a jungle gym type thing.
Yes, and when they jump down.
And all this weird smoke and the way their
and then
legs
they were
running.
running. Yeah,
that was
the
CGI,
motion blur
AI.
and everything looked very pre-fed into a computer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I think even the beginning, with the landscaping and then the cars coming to the ice cream van is coming towards us, I was like, some of that doesn't look like a regular matte painting or CGI thing. So
and the animation
it's possible
style,
that there was like a touch up. I don't know. I didn't. Are you
says
talking
that
about the word bubbles when it came up?
So he says he hand drew the animation. It very much looks like, and we've all played around with Sora and whatever AI. I'm sorry, most of us have. I know there's folks out there that don't
Guilty.
touch it. We've all played with it. It very much felt like he drew that in the initial like ice cream thing and then fed that into the AI, and then that created all those little animation sequences.
So let me ask you this. To do hand-drawn animation, or even if you do it on a computer, folks, right? That takes forever to animate. Yeah. So maybe he used AI to shortcut it. Maybe there were CGI effects that an AI filter was put over top of it, the same way that, you know, an Instagram selfie has a filter.
Yeah.
So is that worth the vitriol of you used AI, therefore I'm not going to support or see your movie? It's not like AI is coming to your house to kill your kids. Okay.
No.
Do you feel like that is warranted? Because as you and I had said in the spoiler-free, AI is now or should be used as a tool to help with the shortcuts. Mm-hmm. Right? So that then you can go back as a human and then touch things up, right? Yeah. So obviously there's the Pareto principle. AI can be a way to get us there to that 80-20 so that we're not spending all of that time. If that is in fact the case here, we're probably never going to know, right? But if that is the case here, is that so bad? What are your thoughts on that?
My true thoughts, we talked about it a little bit, is I think as a tool it can be used, and I think that's what he did here, is use it as a tool to speed up the processes. But I don't think that the technology is quite there. Early, let's think about Spawn style, early CGI, right?
Oh my God, you're so rude.
It just felt like,
oh my God, you're talking about like in Spawn, the Malbolgia, when it's like, and it was like, oh my God, what am I looking at? But
that was early CGI, right? This feels like it's the early use of AI in these type of ways. And it feels obvious. And I think it feels shocking and jarring because we are used to seeing AI on, like, you know, our socials and YouTube and things like that. But we're not used to seeing this type of stuff in our feature
on
films.
The big screen.
Yes. Right. I know some people are like, I could smell the AI. I kind of felt that way too, because it does not, your eyes are trained now on CGI. And it's shocking how good practical effects look. And when something comes up that is CGI, but it feels off. There's another sequence where there's a woman who gets a fishbowl over her head and a fish is floating around her head. That felt like the weirdest effect I've ever seen in a film. It felt very much like it should be in a computer game. And that's where I guess, again, that's another AI touch.
Yes, we can train now to look at like Trump, I don't know, in drag walking across a bridge, and we know that that's AI. Like, it looks weird. We know it's AI. But there are times when I get fooled. There was this AI clip that I saw of like a body on a paramedic thing with wheels that gets away from them, and the body just keeps rolling down while the people are like running after it. It looked real.
Right now, I think people see it and they instantly think slop, AI slop. We get back to 2020 when we saw the infamous like fingers turning into spaghetti, and everyone was like,
yes, or like a hand, when you look at it, it's missing a thumb, or
it's missing a thumb.
Yeah.
So when it comes to CGI, they create physics to the world in CGI.
Right.
I don't think AI has learned physics, and people haven't gotten to the point where these different AI engines have learned how to make physics. Like when you see that, I've seen that same video, I could tell because the way the body was rolling didn't seem natural. If you pay close attention, because the physics of it makes it look clunky.
And it wasn't interacting with the grass on the hill the right way either. Yeah.
We've seen it on other films we've talked about, and you don't notice it because they do very little, very minimal bits of it. And like Lowry got ripped, like we mentioned, in Mother Mary for using it, but it was just so small and in just little bits. And the other thing that Eli Roth did is he lied. He said there was no AI in this, and then he backtracked.
That's true. And that brings the vitriol when you're not transparent.
If he would have been like Lowry and said, yes, we had to in post, there was a couple things that we just couldn't fix, so we did hire a company, and they went in, and it was literally minuscule bits of seconds. Like,
there are fans of those sci-fi movies like Piranaconda or whatever, And that toaster CGI bullshit looks completely fake, but you know, are you going to rail against it if you learn that Piranhaconda 4 was made with AI so that the Piranhaconda could look a little more realistic? I don't know. I think the second layer of people, when they think of AI, is the corporate overlord aspect, meaning, you know, these corporations are they're invading our world. They're behind everything. They're behind the bad politics. They're behind AI because you need billions of dollars to do these kinds of effects. And I think that's the second layer politically, is that people are like, I will not be ruled by a corporate overlord and I will not use AI. You mentioned the head thing. I mentioned some of the gore sequences. You said that her carrying the head was an effective, like, kind of like dread kind of thing.
Yeah, I like
Do you think there were some effective sequences in here? Because for me, you mentioned the playground sequence, but there were some sequences that worked for me that were very much like, ooh, that's really horrific and gross, and I can't believe I'm seeing this. So, for example, the dropping the bricks on the teacher.
Oh yeah.
And then hauling the one teacher into the hallway and then like just repeatedly cutting into her. I was like, ooh, I need to look away from this or whatever. Do you think that some of that worked here, or did you just feel Terrifier-esque? Because we did get a blood angel thing just like in Terrifier 3, right? But did you feel like any of the sequences were effective beyond the little girl and the little dread?
Yeah, like those sequences you mentioned, they did work. There were moments where I was like, oh, and I did have to look away several times because I call it the Terrifier-chasing or whatever of horror, where we keep getting so over the top with some of these kills and even when I saw the Pinocchio Unstrung, it does the same thing. And that, if you're going to choose between two movies that are trashy, choose Pinocchio Unstrung. That's what I would say. There's much better versions of this kind of schlocky, gooey, ooey, exploitation horror. And this just doesn't work 100%.
There are a couple scenes that go Terrifier. I'm thinking of the scene where the kid just keeps stomping on the head, and at that point it looks...
And it's a pool of blood and gunk, and it's thick. That looked cool because it was real looking. It didn't
because it was real looking,
It wasn't CGI. You could tell there was no touch-ups.
But I will admit that I laughed my ass off in that one scene where the kid cuts off the guy's hand, grabs it, runs after another kid, puts it on the kid's back, and he's like, "Tag, you're it." I just howled. I was like, oh my God, that's fucking amazing. The other thing that was really funny to me, which again, time doesn't matter in these Eli Roth films, the kids are trapped in the school. The majority of the film really is the kids trapped in the school trying to get out when all the kids go crazy. But they can't use their cell phone, and the two kids have iPhones, but the nerdy kid has an Android. And they're like, how do I use this? I don't know. And then the one kid is like, Android is almost identical. If you look at the statistics or whatever, I laughed my ass off because I'm very team Android, and I get a lot of shit from group texts where I'm the one that's throwing it off because I'm an Android. I thought it was funny.
I'm an Android guy.
Did you think some of that stuff was funny, or was it...
No, I thought most of it was cringe. There was a lot of cringe humor in this. That's Eli Roth's style, is cringe.
Yeah.
And it was he thinks that it's funny or original to have kids say shocking things and make stupid jokes and puns that children just wouldn't do. Most of the things that came out of these kids' mouth would not come out of any kid's mouth. That's a big, huge issue.
Although I might challenge you on that because not to give away the type of work that I am in, but I have heard some 12 and 13-year-olds let that stuff go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as much as the swearing. Like every kid says F this, F that. It just felt like they were just spitting out, again, this comes back to being
adult written script lines. Yeah.
Where kids would not say this stuff. That's the biggest problem about Amblin films, is you give these kids very adult like things to say and do. And that's what I felt like he was trying to do here, was like, hey, I'm being like Steven Spielberg. And he even has said several times, like, Steven Spielberg was my inspiration for this movie. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Eli. Do not dare say that Ice Cream Man is inspired by freaking Spielberg. I'm sure he's puking at hearing that.
Yo, I think Eli Roth is really sexy. If I ever closed escrow with him, which is just not a distinct possibility, but if I ever did, I would ask him not to speak. So with that, do you want to set up why all of this is happening, the big reveal? Do you want to explain that to the friends and listeners?
Yeah. So like you mentioned, these kids eat the ice cream and they try to force all the other kids to eat it. So they become these like kill machine zombies. And why is it? Well, we come to find out that there is a revenge plot. You kind of, wink, wink, you kind of spoiled it by calling it
when I said Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, because what we find out is there was the Ice Cream Man was around in the 60s or 70s, and he was, a good member of the community, giving ice cream to kids. And I don't think they really explained what his crime was.
There was no crime. So basically,
but what were they saying he did? So basically, they said that the kids were lying, saying he did something, but they never really.
So they go into this, they go into a church to hide, which felt very much like The Fog, right? If you can make it to the church on Grand Hill. So they go to the church, they go to the basement. In the freezer, there is this priest who is hiding in the corner. First of all, that should have been your first note that nobody hides in a fucking freezer in a church, by the way. Right?
Stop about that. That was the one sequence that made me jump. There was a sequence there that made me jump in that freezer, which I did not expect. Yeah. I literally jumped and I was like, oh shit, that got me.
Yeah, because you think he's a dead body, but then he wakes up, right? So this priest tells them that there was this ice cream man, but the priest was, unfortunately, he said that there were other priests that were molesting the kids. And so what ended up happening was they framed the good ice cream man, and the lawyer who represented the I guess the town or the whatever is a descendant of the main kid's father.
Yeah.
And their law firm. And he made the kids lie on the stand and point out the ice cream man, who was then put in jail and then I think executed or died.
Yeah. They showed his body sitting in jail and he died and his jaw was all hanging down.
Because he was visited by a warlock or the devil, whoever you want to say. And the devil said, I will let you get revenge if you make a deal with me. And so he has come back. It's the sins of the father and making the kids. So I see why you thought maybe it was kind of like Weapons. I think the ending of Weapons wasn't very shocking to see these kids, tearing apart somebody and doing all this violence because we've seen shit like that before, right? Yeah. But this is very Nightmare on Elm Street. Sins of the father, sins of the parents, the kids coming back to kill them.
The real twist on this is that we think this guy is a priest. He tells them this big convoluted way that they can go about killing the ice cream man by going and finding this body of the warlock they traded his body with the ice cream man's body. And that's why the ice cream man is resurrected.
But don't forget you have to kill the warlock, but there is something called the siren that is guarding him. So you need to kill the siren and like I said, time doesn't matter to Eli Roth because then that scene devolves into each of the kids going, wait, I don't understand. We have to do this and then this. And then the priest is like, no, do this and then this and then this. And then the girl's like, okay, just to be clear, this and this. And I'm like, we don't need that. But anyway, you want to follow with the big twist of what happens.
He was making fun of how convoluted some of these twists are in these horror movies.
Sure.
And so basically the whole thing was to get the main kid and his sister to kill the ice cream man. So they get there, they dig up the body, they see the two bodies in there, they're moving, and they're like, oh, that's the siren, there's the warlock. They start hacking, slicing, and cutting, and they chop off their heads, and they think they did it, and they think they won. Well, little do they know, the priest all along was actually the warlock, and he tricked them into killing their own parents. So that's the big twist. There's the big ending. They don't get away happy. We see them kill their entire family or their parents, and these kids are sitting there holding their, head of their mother and father.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
really shocking.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? You are right. That's a really cool fucking ending. It's a downer. It's like The Mist. They've killed their parents. They're distraught. There's even a great moment where like the ice cream man is like, no, don't show me the head. That's gonna, because he says that you have to show the head of the warlock to him, a la Medusa in Clash of the Titans.
And he does this, which they
and
showed
he does
in the
this
trailers.
like, don't show me. But then it happens to be the mom's head, and then he's like laughing at them as the kids are laughing at them. That's a really great ending, but the problem is that it doesn't work here because you've got all that other nonsense Terrifier shit before, and it could have been so much more impactful, right?
Yeah. Then you get that non sequitur, which you thought it was kind of nothing. I thought it was funny. Because there's a sequence where we see a guy on a Segway and he's like trying to get away, and then some kid comes up, and that felt AI as well, where he comes and slices the
and
head.
just hacks his
head. And the way
off,
that the
right?
head, again, no physics, the way it fell off, it kind of flipped in the air and landed, which if you would have cut it like that, it would have just fallen. But anyway, being nitpicky, noticing these little things that felt weird. You see
corporate overlords.
Yeah, you see the very end, because it ends with them driving off, and then you see going over the bridge that headless Segway body going. I thought that was pretty funny.
It was kind of funny. It's a B-roll take. It doesn't matter. But so at the end of the film, like you mentioned, the ice cream man, Pied Piper, basically, and all of the kids, they're moving towards the big city, and so there's this implication that there could be a sequel, that it's going to go on. But let me just say this, given everything that's followed before that, there is no sequel. He accomplished his aim.
Yeah.
He got his revenge. He got the kids. He got the kids to do something weird. How can you keep this going? You can't. He's done, right? Did you feel that way, or do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they could, of course, keep going after the attorneys and the family members of whatever judges. They could. I mean, Eli Roth could do whatever he wanted, but this movie didn't make enough money. Yes, we all did talk about how he basically made money on this. He didn't lose money on it. Before it even hit theaters, he already had his money back, whatever. Smart businessman. So is Elon Musk, and he's a fuckboy. So it doesn't matter how smart of a businessman you are.
Corporate overlords.
Or how you make your money back or whatever. I mean, people keep saying, but he made his money back. It doesn't matter and we all got to see these body parts flying in the theaters, and that's all we care about. Great. I'm glad you got that.
Actually, can I just segue to that? So I'm not going to say whether I was in this camp or not, but some people wanted Odyssey to fail, and it did not, right? And so anytime there's a criticism about the Odyssey and Nolan's filmmaking and the script and the acting, the immediate retort is, well, it made $1 billion. The film could still suck, even though it made $1 billion, right? And so it's so weird, film criticism nowadays. I think it's the YouTube effect, right? Yeah. This whole like, gotcha. May we never become those types of movie reviewers, but it is what it is. We're all, I don't know, it's a human reaction.
We are never going to be film influencers. And that's the difference is there's film reviewers and then there's film influencers, these social media influencers that are here to talk about film and influence. That kind of ruins the art of being a film critic.
Critique, yeah.
We say it over and over again. We're here to give you a yes, you should go spend your money and do all of the things that it takes to get to a movie theater.
I'm pretending to be a critic because I love film. I love film and film analysis.
We do love it. So, it's expensive to go to the movies these days.
It is. It certainly is.
And it's not expensive to just watch things on streaming. And, eventually this is going to pop up on Shudder or Screenbox or some kind of bullshit like that eventually.
Yeah. Definitely. The Scream Shudders. But, okay. So it's a skip from both of us.
Skip. But there are moments. I mean, I thought we were going to tear this apart.
There are moments, yeah, and that's why I think if it was like shorter and tighter, like a Shudder movie, 88 minutes, 87 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that Eli has that. I'm a horror filmmaker. Look what I can do, and he just needs to get out of his own way. Like Schnars, you people behind the scenes at the horror section, like reel him in, please. And that Stiletto trailer, I'm like, oh God, I don't know.
Well, we know
it looks like a short. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But, how many Vice Squad Maximes do we really need? Right?
No more.
Okay.
Enough.
Anyway. Okay. So, parting thoughts before we segue to the end of this and adjourn our spoilered review.
In the end, I just think that if you're going to go see this movie, know what you're getting into. If you haven't seen it and you want to get spoiled, there it is for you. If you can go into this and enjoy the splatter and the trauma effect of it, you're going to have a good time. If you don't like the splatter and you don't like the nonsense, it's not going to be enjoyable at all. So I'm sure there's a lot of people. I heard there was mass walkouts throughout America, both during the preview screenings as well as throughout the weekend. So just know what you're getting into. This is not the type of movie. Don't bring kids to this. Don't bring your girlfriends who've never been to a horror movie. Just like people who are bringing their kids to Terrifier 3 thinking it was a Christmas movie.
Or Pinocchio Unstrung.
Or Pinocchio Unstrung.
Come on.
You'd better off going and renting Poultrygeist or something else
or Thanksgiving for that matter. At least something a little more enjoyable and sort of, on the nose. So, All right, what are we doing next week? This is yet another bizarre August.
End of Oak Street. That's the big one. Yeah.
It's part of the annual, folks. Anne Hathaway is having a year.
Yeah,
the
that's
annual
definitely
continues. What we're doing. Okay. Yeah. And then after that,
Tony, Insidious, and Mutiny, which is this year's Jason Statham fights bad guys.
Oh my God. Can I just tell you, I think Mutiny is the project that I had read about that they had originally called Boat because it's from the guy that directed Plane.
Oh, I think
but they very wisely called it Mutiny rather than Boat. Although I would have gone to see Boat. It was called. Let me say Boat again. August is weird, but we got it. It
is. August has kind of become the new old January when January.
It's the new January, the dumping ground.
Yeah, definitely.
Strange.
Well,
all right,
stay tuned for whatever August is going to give us. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun and super weird. Parting thoughts, Mike.
Like I said before, love your family, enjoy the last bit of summer, and hug your mom and dad if you haven't.
Absolutely. And as always, folks, be kind, be open, be vulnerable. That's where the art is, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.